You were never powerless. You were simply never taught how power really works. True power is not given, it is taken, not with noise, but with precision. In a world that trains you to obey, the most radical act is to think for yourself. Every time you flinch, hesitate, or wait for permission, you hand over your crown. But it doesn't have to be this way. If you're tired of watching life happen while you stay silent, this is your turning point. Subscribe to our channel if you're ready to master your mind, and tell us, where are you watching from? Listen carefully. Your weakness is not an accident. It was designed. From the moment you drew breath, they began the conditioning. Parents who told you to be quiet when you questioned authority. Teachers who rewarded compliance over curiosity. A society that celebrates followers and punishes free thinkers. They called it civilization. I call it domestication. You were born wild. You were born to rule your own destiny, but they needed workers, not warriors, servants, not sovereigns. So they gave you fairy tales about good things coming to those who wait. They taught you to raise your hand before speaking, to ask permission before acting, to apologize for taking up space. This is not natural human behavior. This is learned helplessness, packaged as virtue. Look around you. Watch how people move through the world, heads down, shoulders slouched, waiting for someone else to make the first move, hoping someone else will solve their problems, begging for scraps from tables they could own. They trained you to fear judgment more than mediocrity, to value comfort over conquest, to seek safety instead of sovereignty. Every institution you trusted was designed to make you smaller, quieter, more manageable. But here's what they never told you. Obedience is a choice. Weakness is a habit, and both can be broken. The first step to reclaiming your power is recognizing the cage. Most people live their entire lives without realizing they're imprisoned by invisible chains, chains forged from shame, doubt, and the desperate need for approval. You ask permission to leave work early. You apologize for having opinions. You shrink yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant to contain you. Every time you do this, you reinforce the prison. Stop waiting for someone to give you permission to be great. Stop looking for external validation of your worth. Stop apologizing for wanting more than what they've assigned you. The most dangerous person to a system built on compliance is someone who thinks for themselves, someone who questions everything, someone who refuses to accept limitations imposed by lesser minds. This is why they work so hard to keep you small. Your power threatens their control. Your independence exposes their weakness. Your success reveals their lies. But here's the truth they fear most. You don't need their permission. You never did. Every great leader in history was called dangerous by those they refused to follow. Every revolutionary was labeled a threat by those who profited from the status quo. Every free thinker was attacked by those who traded their minds for security. The system needs your compliance to survive, but you don't need the system to thrive. Starting today, you will think differently. You will move differently. You will speak differently, not because someone gave you permission, but because you gave yourself power. The person you were yesterday was trained to obey. The person you become tomorrow will be trained to command. First yourself, then your circumstances, then your destiny. But let me ask you this. Are you ready to be dangerous? Are you ready to be called selfish for putting yourself first? Are you ready to be labeled arrogant for believing in your worth? Because once you step into your power, there's no going back to being small. Once you taste sovereignty, servitude becomes impossible. The choice is yours. But choose quickly. Every moment you spend waiting for permission is a moment you'll never get back. Your weakness was not your fault, but your strength is your responsibility. You cannot command others until you command yourself. This is the first law of power that weak men never learn. Walk into any room and watch how people carry themselves. Slumped shoulders broadcasting defeat. Nervous gestures screaming insecurity. Eyes that dart away from direct contact, begging not to be noticed. These people have already surrendered before the battle begins. Your body is your first announcement. To the world, before you speak a word, before you make a move, your posture declares whether you're a ruler or ruled, and most of you are broadcasting weakness from across the room. Stand differently. Move differently. Exist differently. When you enter a space, you should fill it completely, not with noise, but with presence. Your spine should be straight, not because someone told you to stand up straight, but because you refuse to bow to gravity itself. Your shoulders should be back not from military training, but from the weight of your own worth. Look people in the eye, not to challenge them, but because you belong wherever you stand. Your gaze should be steady, direct, unashamed. When you look away first, you've already submitted to their dominance. But here's what most people don't understand. This isn't about pretending to be confident. This is about recognizing the sovereign that already exists within you. You were not born to apologize for taking up space. You were not designed to shrink, to minimize, to make yourself smaller so others feel bigger. You were created to occupy your rightful place in this world with complete authority over your own existence. Your internal dialogue shapes your external reality. Listen to how you speak to yourself. Are you your own ally or your worst enemy? Do you encourage or do you destroy? Do you build or do you tear down? Most people carry a critic in their head that would be arrested for harassment if it existed outside their skull. You're not good enough. You don't deserve this. Who do you think you are? This voice is not your conscience. It's your conditioning. Replace that voice with the voice of a commander. Speak to yourself the way a general speaks to his most trusted lieutenant, with respect, with expectation, with unwavering belief in your capabilities. When you make a mistake, you don't crumble, you adapt. When you face setbacks, you don't collapse, you strategize. When others doubt you, you don't defend. You demonstrate. Your mirror should reflect a person who expects victory, not one who hopes for mercy. When you look at yourself, you should see potential, not problems. Strength, not shame. A leader, not a victim. But let me ask you this. What story are you telling yourself about who you are? Because that story becomes your reality. If you see yourself as powerless, you will act powerless. If you see yourself as defeated, you will accept defeat. If you see yourself as small, you will live small. Change the story. Rewrite the narrative. You are not the victim of your circumstances. You are not at the mercy of other people's opinions. You are not limited by your past mistakes or current situation. You are the author of your own power. You are the architect of your own destiny. You are the ruler of your own kingdom. And that kingdom starts with the space between your ears. Master your thoughts and you master your world. Control your inner dialogue and you control your outer experience. Command your self-image and you command respect from others. This is not positive thinking. This is strategic thinking. This is not self-help. This is self-mastery. This is not about feeling better. This is about being better. Every morning you have a choice. You can wake up as the person who things happen to or the person who makes things happen. You can dress like someone hoping not to be noticed or someone who owns every room they enter. Your confidence is not dependent on external circumstances. Your power is not granted by others. Your worth is not determined by outside validation. These things originate from within and radiate outward. When you truly command yourself, others sense it immediately. They feel the weight of your presence. They recognize the authority in your movements. They respond to the leadership in your voice. But this transformation begins with a single decision: to stop betraying yourself, to stop accepting less than you deserve, to stop apologizing for your existence. Look in the mirror and see what I see. Not someone who needs fixing, but someone who needs awakening. Not someone who lacks power, but someone who has forgotten how powerful they already are. The crown was never missing. You simply forgot you were wearing it. The moment you react, you lose. The moment you respond, you win. There is a universe of difference between these two, and most people never learn it. Watch how easily others are manipulated. A single comment triggers anger. One criticism destroys their peace. A minor inconvenience ruins their entire day. These people are not in control of their lives. Their emotions are. You were not born to be a puppet dancing to other people's music. You were not designed to be moved by every wind that blows. You were created to be the calm center around which chaos swirls harmlessly. Reaction is weakness. It reveals your pressure points to your enemies. It hands them the remote control to your emotional state. Every time you explode, you show them exactly which buttons to push next time. Response is power. It demonstrates mastery over yourself. It proves you cannot be moved by external forces. It sends a clear message. You are not controllable. But here's what most people don't understand. Calmness is not passivity. Stillness is not weakness. Silence is not surrender. These are the weapons of the truly powerful. When someone attacks you with words, your first instinct is to attack back. This is exactly what they want. They want to drag you into their emotional storm. They want to reduce you to their level. They want to prove you're just as reactive as they are. Don't give them the satisfaction. Instead, become unmovable. Let their anger crash against your calm like waves against a stone cliff. Watch how quickly their power dissolves when they realize they cannot affect you. Your emotional state is your kingdom. Guard it like a fortress. Allow no one to breach its walls without your permission. When you maintain inner stillness, you maintain control over every situation. This doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you choose when and how to feel. It means your feelings serve you, not the other way around. It means you experience emotions without being enslaved by them. The angry man reveals his hand. The anxious person broadcasts their weakness. The reactive individual advertises their triggers. But the calm person keeps their power hidden, their strategy secret, their next move unpredictable. Cultivate this stillness deliberately. When pressure mounts, breathe deeper. When chaos erupts, move slower. When others shout, speak softer. This is not about suppressing your nature. This is about mastering it. Your nervous system was designed for survival, not success. It treats criticism like physical attack. It responds to social pressure like mortal danger. But you are not ruled by primitive instincts. You are governed by conscious choice. Train yourself to pause between stimulus and response. In that pause lives your power. In that space exists your freedom. In that moment, you choose who you become. Most people live their entire lives in reaction mode. Something happens, they respond automatically. Someone speaks, they reply immediately. Pressure builds, they crack instantly. This is the life of a slave to circumstance, but you will be different. You will create space between what happens to you and how you respond to it. You will think before you speak. You will breathe before you act. You will choose before you react. This is how you become undefeatable, not by being the strongest or the fastest or the loudest, but by being the most controlled, not by dominating others, but by mastering yourself. When you can remain calm while others lose their minds, you become the leader by default. When you can think clearly while others are consumed by emotion, you become the strategist they need. When you can stay centered while others are spinning, you become the anchor they cling to. But let me ask you this. What situations consistently steal your peace? What people can predictably push your buttons? What circumstances reliably trigger your reaction? These are not random occurrences. These are your weaknesses being exploited. These are the areas where you've surrendered your power to external forces. Identify them, study them, master them, because every trigger you don't control is a weapon in someone else's hands. Every emotional reaction you can't contain is power you're giving away. Every moment you lose your calm is a moment you lose your advantage. The most dangerous person in any room is not the one making the most noise. It's the one who remains silent while others lose control. It's the one who thinks while others react. It's the one who stays calm while others create chaos. This person holds all the cards because they never reveal their hand. This person wins every battle because they never fight on someone else's terms. This person commands respect because they've learned to command themselves. Your calmness is not a personality trait. It's a strategic choice. Your stillness is not. Natural temperament. It's cultivated power. Your peace is not the absence of conflict. It's mastery over it. Become unshakable. Not because you feel no pressure, but because you've learned to transform pressure into power. Not because you face no storms, but because you've become the calm center that no storm can touch. Permission is the language of slaves. Decision is the language of kings. Every time you ask instead of decide, you crown someone else as ruler of your life. Look around you. Watch how people move through their days. Can I leave work early? Is it okay if I speak up? Do you mind if I try something new? They've turned their entire existence into a request for approval from people who have no authority over their destiny. You were not born to seek permission. You were born to make decisions. You were not created to ask for approval. You were created to approve of yourself. You were not designed to wait for someone else's green light. You were designed to be the traffic controller of your own life. But here's what they never taught you. Most of the permission you seek is completely unnecessary. Most of the approval you crave is absolutely worthless. Most of the validation you chase comes from people who have no power to give it meaning. Who gave your boss the authority to control when you can leave? Who appointed your family as judges of your life choices? Who elected your peers as the committee that approves your dreams? You did. Every time you asked instead of decided. Every time you sought their blessing instead of trusting your judgment. Every time you made them the authority over your own existence. This ends now. From this moment forward, you will move through the world as the decision-maker you were born to be. Not recklessly, but deliberately. Not carelessly, but confidently. Not without thought, but without permission. When you want something, you don't ask if you can have it. You decide if you will take it. When you see an opportunity, you don't request permission to pursue it. You determine whether it serves your purpose. When you have an idea, you don't seek approval to implement it. You evaluate its merit and act accordingly. This is not about ignoring consequences. This is about accepting responsibility. This is not about acting without consideration. This is about considering and then acting. This is not about being reckless. This is about being sovereign. The powerful don't ask, "Can I?" They ask, "How will I?" They don't say, "Is it possible?" They say, "What's required?" They don't wonder, "What if they say no?" They determine, "What if I say yes?" Your time on this earth is limited. Every moment you spend waiting for someone else's permission is a moment stolen from your potential. Every decision you delegate to others is power you'll never get back. Every choice you refuse to make is a life you'll never live. But most people are terrified of making decisions because they're terrified of making mistakes. They'd rather live with the regret of inaction than risk the pain of imperfection. They choose the guaranteed misery of never trying over the possible disappointment of not succeeding. This is cowardice disguised as caution. This is fear dressed up as prudence. This is the mentality of someone who would rather be a perfect slave than an imperfect king. You will make mistakes. You will face criticism. You will encounter resistance. These are not bugs in the system. They're features. They're proof that you're living as a decision maker rather than dying as a permission seeker. Every great leader in history was criticized for their choices. Every innovator was told their ideas wouldn't work. Every pioneer was warned about the dangers ahead. But they decided to move forward anyway, not because they had permission, but because they had purpose. Your purpose doesn't require their approval. Your vision doesn't need their validation. Your dreams don't depend on their encouragement. These things exist within you, and they're waiting for your decision to bring them to life. But let me ask you this: what decisions have you been avoiding? What choices have you been delegating to others? What aspects of your life are you allowing other people to control? Make a list. Write it down. Look at how much power you've given away to people who never deserved it. Look at how many decisions you've avoided that only you should make. Then start taking it back. One decision at a time. One choice at a time. One act of sovereignty at a time. Start small if you must, but start somewhere. Decide what you'll eat without asking for opinions. Choose what you'll wear without seeking approval. Determine how you'll spend your time without requesting permission. Then graduate to bigger decisions. The career you'll pursue, the relationships you'll maintain, the standards you'll accept, the life you'll live. Because here's the truth. They don't want you to know. You already have all the authority you need. You always did. The only permission you ever needed was your own. And you've had that since the day you were born. Stop asking. Start deciding. Stop requesting. Start requiring. Stop seeking permission. Start granting it to yourself. The crown is yours to wear. The throne is yours to claim. The kingdom is yours to rule, but only if you stop asking for someone else's permission. To be king, they lied to you about freedom. They told you it meant doing whatever you want, whenever you want. They sold you the illusion that liberty equals license. This is the freedom of animals, not kings. True freedom is not the absence of constraints. True freedom is the mastery of constraints. It's not about having no rules. It's about being the one who makes the rules. It's not about following every impulse. It's about choosing which impulses deserve to be followed. The undisciplined person believes they are free, but they are slaves to every desire, every craving, every momentary whim. They are prisoners of their own appetites, dancing to the rhythm of instant gratification. They mistake chaos for choice and call their weakness freedom. But you will be different. You understand that discipline is not your enemy, it's your liberation. Every habit you master is a chain you break. Every impulse you control is power you reclaim. Every moment you choose long-term gain over short-term pleasure is a step toward true sovereignty. Watch the undisciplined masses around you. They cannot wake up when they intend to. They cannot eat what they plan to. They cannot focus when they need to. They cannot save what they should. They have surrendered their will to the tyranny of the moment, and they call this living. This is not living. This is existing. This is not freedom. This is slavery with more comfortable chains. Your future self is held hostage by your present choices. Every time you choose comfort over commitment, you rob tomorrow of its potential. Every time you pick easy over excellent, you sentence your future to mediocrity. Every time you select instant over important, you trade your dreams for temporary pleasure. But here's what most people don't understand. Discipline is not punishment. It's preparation. It's not restriction. It's rehearsal for greatness. It's not about denying yourself pleasure. It's about earning the right to pleasure. The disciplined person enjoys food more because they've earned it through restraint. They appreciate rest more because they've earned it through effort. They value success more because they've earned it through sacrifice. Discipline creates capacity. Every boundary you maintain expands your ability to maintain boundaries. Every standard you uphold strengthens your ability to uphold standards. Every promise you keep to yourself increases your power to keep promises to yourself. Start with small things. Wake up when you say you will. Exercise when you plan to. Work when you commit to. These seem insignificant, but they're building the foundation of self-command that will support the weight of your greatest ambitions. Your word to yourself is the most important word you'll ever give. When you break promises to yourself, you will help teach yourself that you cannot be trusted. When you honor commitments to yourself, you prove that you are reliable. When you do what you say you'll do, even when no one is watching, you become someone worth following. But let me ask you this. What areas of your life are currently ruled by impulse instead of intention? Where do you consistently choose the easy path over the excellent path? What promises to yourself do you break most regularly? These are not character flaws. These are training opportunities. These are not permanent weaknesses. These are temporary challenges waiting to be conquered. The most successful people in any field are not necessarily the most talented. They're the most disciplined. They show up when they don't feel like it. They work when they don't want to. They persist when others quit. They choose the difficult path because they know it leads to destinations worth reaching. Your emotions will try to negotiate with your discipline. They will offer compelling reasons why today should be an exception. They will promise that you can start tomorrow. They will argue that one deviation won't matter. These are lies your weakness tells to maintain control. Don't negotiate with weakness. Don't compromise with comfort. Don't bargain with your own excuses. You are not a democracy, where every feeling gets a vote. You are a monarchy where discipline reigns supreme. The disciplined person is not rigid. They are reliable. They are not restrictive. They are responsible. They are not depriving themselves. They are developing themselves. Every no you say to temptation is a yes you say to transformation. Every moment you choose discipline over desire is a moment you choose your future over your feelings. Every time you do what you planned instead of what you prefer, you become more powerful. This is how you build unshakable confidence, not through positive thinking, but through positive doing, not through self-affirmation, but through self-demonstration. Not through believing in yourself, but through proving to yourself that you can be believed in. Your discipline today determines your freedom tomorrow. Your restraint now creates your options later. Your sacrifice in this moment builds your strength for every moment that follows. The person you're becoming is worth more than the pleasure you're postponing. The future you're creating is worth more than the comfort you're avoiding. The power you're building is worth more than the easy path you're rejecting. Discipline is not what you do to yourself. It's what you do for yourself. It's not punishment for your weakness. It's preparation for your greatness. It's not the enemy of freedom. It's freedom's most trusted ally. Comfort is the assassin of greatness. It kills more dreams than failure ever could. It destroys more potential than any external enemy. It is the soft, silent killer that convinces you to settle while whispering that you're being wise. Look around. You. See how comfort has conquered the masses. They choose the familiar job over the exciting opportunity. They select the safe relationship over the passionate connection. They pick the easy path over the meaningful journey. They've traded their birthright of greatness for a bowl of temporary ease. This is not wisdom. This is cowardice dressed in the clothes of prudence. This is fear masquerading as maturity. This is spiritual death disguised as practical living. You were not born to be comfortable. You were born to be extraordinary. You were not created to avoid discomfort. You were created to transform discomfort into strength. You were not designed to seek ease. You were designed to seek excellence. But here's what they never tell you. Comfort is not your friend. It's your enemy wearing a smile. It promises safety, but delivers stagnation. It offers security, but produces slavery. It appears to protect you while actually poisoning you. Every moment you choose comfort over challenge, you weaken. Every time you pick ease over effort, you diminish. Every decision to avoid discomfort is a decision to avoid growth. And without growth, you are not living, you are slowly dying. The comfortable person believes they are preserving their energy, but energy that is preserved instead of invested becomes stagnant. Muscles that are protected instead of challenged become weak. Minds that are sheltered instead of stretched become small. Power grows in discomfort. Strength develops under pressure. Character forms in crisis. Greatness emerges from the willingness to embrace what others avoid. This is why the weak flee from difficulty while the strong run toward it. This is why mediocre people seek to eliminate problems while exceptional people seek to solve them. This is why the ordinary crave comfort while the extraordinary crave challenge. But let me ask you this. When was the last time you deliberately chose the harder path? When did you last embrace discomfort for the sake of growth? When did you most recently step into your fear instead of away from it? If you cannot answer these questions immediately, you have been seduced by comfort. You have been conquered by ease. You have been weakened by your own desire for the path of least resistance. This ends today. From this moment forward, you will court discomfort like a lover. You will seek challenge like treasure. You will embrace difficulty like an old friend who brings gifts you don't yet understand. When you have two choices, you will deliberately choose the one that makes you uncomfortable. When you face a decision between easy and excellent, you will choose excellent every time. When you encounter an opportunity that scares you, you will take it as a sign that it's exactly what you need. This is not masochism. This is strategy. This is not self-punishment. This is self-development. This is not about seeking pain for its own sake. This is about recognizing that all growth requires some measure of discomfort. The butterfly does not emerge from the cocoon because the process is comfortable. The diamond does not form without intense pressure. The sword does not become sharp without the fire, and the hammer. Nothing worthwhile ever comes from the realm of ease. Your comfort zone is not a sanctuary. It's a prison. It may feel safe, but it's where dreams go to die. It may appear protective, but it's actually destructive. It may seem like shelter, but it's actually a cage. The successful person and the unsuccessful person often face the same choices. The difference is that the successful person consistently chooses discomfort, while the unsuccessful person consistently chooses comfort. Success is not about talent or luck or connections. Success is about the willingness to be uncomfortable, in service of something greater. Cold showers when you prefer warm ones. Early mornings when you'd rather sleep in. Difficult conversations when you'd prefer silence. Hard work when you'd rather rest. Exercise when you'd rather relax. These small acts of discomfort build the muscle of resilience that will carry you through life's greatest challenges. Your enemies are not plotting against you in some distant location. Your enemies are the voices in your head that whisper, "Take the easy way. You've done enough. You deserve a break. This is too hard. Why make it difficult?" These voices are not your friends. They are not protecting you. They are weakening you. They are not looking out for your best interests. They are keeping you from your best self. Fight back. When comfort calls, choose challenge. When ease beckons, embrace effort. When the path splits between simple and significant, take the significant path every time. Because here's the truth that will change everything. The person you're capable of becoming lives on the other side of your comfort zone. The life you're meant to live exists in the territory you're afraid to explore. The power you seek grows in the soil of difficulty. Weakness loves comfort because comfort preserves weakness. But strength loves challenge because challenge creates strength. And you were not born to be weak. You were born to be strong. The choice is yours. But know this, every moment you spend in comfort is a moment you're not spending in growth. Every decision to stay safe is a decision to stay small. Every choice to remain comfortable is a choice to remain conquered. Your greatness is waiting for you in the place that scares you most. Predictability is death. When others can forecast your moves, they can block your path. When they can anticipate your reactions, they can manipulate your responses. When they can read your patterns, they can write your defeat. The masses live predictable lives. They wake at the same time, take the same route to work, eat lunch at the same hour, complain about the same problems, watch the same shows, and go to bed at the same time. Their entire existence is a schedule that anyone can memorize and everyone can exploit. But you will be different. You will be the storm they cannot see coming. You will be the move they cannot counter. You will be the force they cannot calculate or contain. This is not about being chaotic. This is about being strategic. This is not about being random. This is about being unpredictable in ways that serve your purpose. This is not about confusion. This is about maintaining the element of surprise. When people think they know you, they stop paying attention. When they believe they understand your patterns, they stop preparing for your possibilities. When they assume they can predict your behavior, they leave themselves vulnerable to your ingenuity. The predictable person broadcasts their intentions through their habits. They telegraph their moves through their routines. They advertise their weaknesses through their consistencies. They make themselves easy targets for anyone paying attention. But the unpredictable person keeps others guessing. They maintain their options while limiting others' opportunities. They preserve their power by protecting their patterns. They stay dangerous by staying mysterious. Here's what most people don't understand. Your predictability is not just about you. It affects everyone around you. When you're predictable, you make life easier for your competitors. When you're routine, you make victory simpler for your rivals. When you're obvious, you make success inevitable for your enemies. Change your timing. If you always respond immediately to messages, sometimes wait. If you always arrive early, occasionally come late. If you always speak up first, sometimes remain silent. If you always take the same path, explore different routes. This is not about being difficult. This is about being dynamic. This is not about creating problems. This is about creating possibilities. This is not about being unreliable. This is about being unreadable. Your patterns have become your prison. Your routines have become your chains. Your predictability has become your weakness. Break them all. The successful negotiator never reveals their bottom line. The skilled warrior never telegraphs their attack. The wise leader never shows all their cards. They understand that information is power, and predictability is information freely given to those who don't deserve it. But let me ask you this. What patterns have you established that others can exploit? What routines have you created that limit your options? What behaviors have you repeated so often that they've become weapons in someone else's hands? Study yourself like an enemy would. Look for the patterns they would use against you. Identify the routines they would exploit. Find the predictabilities they would turn into vulnerabilities, then change them. Not all at once, but strategically. Not randomly, but purposefully. Not to confuse yourself, but to protect yourself. Move in silence. Let your actions be your announcements. Let your results be your revelations. Let your success be your surprise. When you're planning something important, tell no one until it's done. When you're making a significant change, let the change speak for itself. When you're pursuing a goal, let the achievement be the first they hear of it. The predictable person lives transparently, and transparency in a competitive world is suicide. They share their plans, broadcast their intentions, and announce their moves. They make everyone else's job easier by eliminating the need for guesswork. But you will move like water, taking the shape of your container while maintaining your essential nature. You will adapt like shadow, present but ungraspable, visible but untouchable. You will strike like lightning, impossible to predict and impossible to avoid. This does not make you dishonest. It makes you wise. This does not make you deceptive. It makes you strategic. This does not make you untrustworthy. It makes you undefeatable. The most dangerous people in any environment are not the ones making the most noise. They are the ones you cannot predict. They are the ones whose next move remains a mystery. They are the ones who keep their capabilities hidden until the moment they choose to reveal them. Your unpredictability is your advantage. Your mystery is your strength. Your silence is your strategy. Guard them all carefully, because once others learn to predict you, they learn to defeat you. Never let them see you coming. Never let them know what you're planning. Never let them understand your full capabilities until it's too late for them to respond. The element of surprise belongs to those who refuse to be obvious. The advantage goes to those who cannot be anticipated. The victory belongs to those who master the art of moving unseen until the moment they choose to be unstoppable. They cannot stop what they cannot predict. They cannot defeat what they cannot anticipate. They cannot control what they cannot calculate. Be the variable in their equation that makes their mathematics meaningless. Be the factor they forgot to consider. Be the move they never saw coming. In a world full of predictable people living predictable lives, your unpredictability becomes your superpower. In a world drowning in noise, silence is the ultimate power move. While others compete to be heard, you will master the art of being felt. While they exhaust themselves with words, you will command with presence. While they broadcast their thoughts, you will weaponize your restraint. The weak believe that speaking equals importance. They fill every silence with nervous chatter. They explain when they should demonstrate. They argue when they should act. They think volume equals value and mistake noise for influence. But you understand what they do not. The most powerful person in any room is often the one who speaks the least. The most respected voice is frequently the one that chooses its moments carefully. The most influential presence is usually the one that commands attention without demanding it. Silence is not absence. Silence is choice. It is not emptiness. It is fullness under control. It is not weakness. It is strength so complete that it requires no advertisement. When you speak constantly, your words lose weight. When you fill every pause, your thoughts lose impact. When you explain everything, your actions lose power. When you defend every position, your authority loses credibility. But when you speak sparingly, every word carries weight. When you embrace pauses, your thoughts gain impact. When you let actions speak, your power multiplies. When you choose your battles, your authority becomes unquestionable. Watch how people rush to fill silence. They cannot tolerate the void. They interpret quiet as vacancy and mistake stillness for absence. They feel compelled to speak even when they have nothing worth saying. This compulsion is your advantage. In negotiations, the first person to speak after a proposal loses. In conflicts, the first person to break silence reveals their desperation. In conversations, the first person to fill an uncomfortable pause shows their discomfort. But you will be comfortable with discomfort. You will be at peace with pause. You will be powerful in the space between words. Your silence makes others nervous. It forces them to reveal more than they intended. It compels them to fill the void with information you can use. It pressures them to speak when staying quiet would serve them better. But here's what most people don't understand. Silence is not just about what you don't say. It's about the power of what you don't reveal. It's about the strength of what you keep hidden. It's about the advantage of being underestimated. When you talk too much, you give away your strategy. When you explain too often, you expose your insecurity. When you justify too frequently, you demonstrate your lack of confidence. When you argue too much, you reveal your need for validation. The person who must convince others of their power has already lost it. The person who must explain their authority does not possess it. The person who must defend their position is not secure in it, but the person who can remain silent while others scramble for words holds all the cards. The person who can stay quiet while others reveal themselves has already won. The person who can be comfortable with tension while others crack under pressure controls the entire dynamic. Your silence is not agreement. It is assessment. It is not submission. It is strategy. It is not weakness. It is wisdom gathering information before acting. Let me ask you this. How much power have you given away through unnecessary words? How many advantages have you lost by explaining too much? How often have you weakened your position by speaking when silence would have strengthened it? The strong statement needs no follow-up. The powerful action requires no explanation. The confident person provides no justification. They allow their presence to speak and their results to argue. This does not mean you become mute. This means you become selective. This does not mean you stop communicating. This means you communicate with purpose. This does not mean you withdraw from interaction. This means you engage with intention. When you do speak, make it count. When you break your silence, ensure it's worth breaking. When you choose to fill the void, make certain your words add value that exceeds the power of the pause. Your voice should be like a rare vintage wine, precious because it is scarce, powerful because it is concentrated, memorable because it is exceptional. Not because you have nothing to say, but because what you say matters enough to wait for the right moment. Silence creates mystery. Mystery creates curiosity. Curiosity creates interest. Interest creates influence. And influence is power. in action. The chattering person is soon forgotten. The explaining person is rarely believed. The defending person is seldom respected. But the silent person is always remembered, always wondered about, always given more credit than they claim. In a culture that mistakes noise for significance, your silence becomes significant. In an environment that confuses talking with thinking, your quiet becomes thoughtful. In a world that equates speaking with leading, your restraint becomes leadership. Master the pause. Embrace the quiet. Weaponize the wait. Let others fill the air with empty words while you fill the space with undeniable presence. They will speak to prove they exist. You will remain silent to prove you matter. They will use words to claim power. You will use silence to demonstrate it. In the end, what you don't say often speaks louder than what you do. What you don't reveal often reveals more than what you expose. What you don't explain often explains everything. Silence is not what you do when you have nothing to say. Silence is what you do when everything you could say would diminish the power of saying nothing at all. People decide who you are in the first 3 seconds. Before you speak, before you act, before you have a chance to prove yourself, they have already categorized you. This judgment happens below the level of conscious thought, and it determines how they will treat you for every moment that follows. Most people leave this crucial first impression to chance. They stumble into rooms hoping to be noticed. They enter conversations praying to be respected. They approach opportunities begging to be taken seriously. This is the behavior of the powerless. But you will be different. You will understand that. Presence is your announcement. Energy is your introduction. Aura is your advertisement. Before you say hello, you will have already said everything. Your aura is not mystical. It is practical. It is not spiritual energy. It is strategic projection. It is the combination of your posture, your movement, your confidence, and your intention broadcast through every cell of your being. Walk into any room and watch how people carry themselves. The defeated slouch, the insecure fidget, the weak avoid eye contact, the uncertain apologize for existing. They broadcast their powerlessness through their body language before they even attempt to speak. But observe the powerful. They enter spaces like they own them. They move with purpose, not urgency. They make eye contact like equals, not supplicants. They take up space without apology. They project strength without effort. This is not arrogance. This is ownership. This is not ego. This is energy. This is not pretense. This is presence. Your body speaks before your mouth opens. Your posture argues your case before you present it. Your energy negotiates your value before you name your price. Make sure they are all telling the same story, that you belong wherever you are. But here's what most people don't understand. This presence cannot be faked. It cannot be acted. It cannot be temporarily borrowed from someone else's playbook. It must be built from the inside out, earned through countless moments of choosing strength over weakness. When you walk, move like you have somewhere important to be. Not rushed, but purposeful. Not frantic, but focused. Not desperate, but determined. Each step should announce that you're going somewhere that matters. When you stand, occupy your space completely. No shifting weight from foot to foot. No hands shoved deep in pockets. No shoulders curved inward. Stand like you have every right to be exactly where you are, because you do. When you sit, claim your chair. Don't perch on the edge like you're ready to flee. Don't slump like you're exhausted by existence. Don't sprawl like you own nothing. Sit like someone who makes decisions, because that's what you are. Your clothing is your armor, not expensive. Armor, intentional armor. Each piece should be chosen deliberately, worn confidently, maintained properly, not to impress others, but to remind yourself of your standards. Not to show off wealth, but to demonstrate respect for yourself. But let me ask you this. What story is your presence currently telling? What message does your energy broadcast? What impression do you create before you even attempt to create? One, if you're honest, you'll admit that you often enter situations hoping not to be noticed, rather than commanding to be respected. You shrink to avoid judgment rather than expand to claim your space. You minimize your presence rather than maximize your impact. This ends now. From this moment forward, you will train your presence like an athlete trains their body. You will practice your energy like a musician practices their instrument. You will develop your aura like a craftsman develops their skill. Every morning before you face the world, you will stand in front of your mirror and see not someone hoping for acceptance, but someone deserving of respect. Not someone asking for permission, but someone granting their own approval. Not someone shrinking from challenge, but someone expanding to meet it. Your eyes should reflect confidence, not confusion. Your shoulders should broadcast strength, not surrender. Your entire being should announce that you know who you are, where you're going, and why you deserve to get there. This is not about intimidating others. This is about respecting yourself enough to demand that respect from others. This is not about making people uncomfortable. This is about making yourself undeniable. The weak person hopes to be accepted. The strong person expects to be respected. The weak person asks for space. The strong person takes their rightful place. The weak person apologizes for existing. The strong person celebrates their existence. Your presence is your power projected outward. Your aura is your authority made visible. Your energy is your strength translated into a language everyone understands, even if they cannot explain how they understand it. Build this presence deliberately. Cultivate this energy intentionally. Develop this aura strategically. Because in a world full of people apologizing for taking up space, the person who unapologetically claims their space becomes instantly magnetic. You don't need to say a word to command a room. You don't need to make a sound to make an impact. You don't need to speak to be heard. Your presence alone can silence doubt, demand attention, and inspire respect. But this power must be earned through the daily choice to honor yourself, through the consistent decision to stand tall, through the relentless commitment to projecting the energy of someone who knows their worth. Before you speak, let your presence speak. Before you act, let your energy act. Before you prove yourself, let your aura prove that proof is unnecessary. The room should feel different when you enter it. People should stand a little straighter when you arrive. Conversations should pause when you approach, not from fear, but from recognition that power has just walked in. All the world is a stage, and you have been performing without knowing your role. You have been acting without understanding the script. You have been playing games when you should be playing parts. This confusion between theater and reality has cost you more power than any external enemy ever could. Life is not a game with fixed rules and fair outcomes. Life is theater with shifting scripts and multiple audiences. The successful person understands this. The unsuccessful person keeps waiting for someone to explain the rules of a game that doesn't exist. Everyone wears a mask. The difference between the powerful and the powerless is that the powerful choose their masks intentionally, while the powerless accept whatever mask others assign them. You have been assigned roles your entire life: student, employee, child, sibling, citizen, consumer. Most of these roles were designed to make you predictable, manageable, controllable. They were created to limit your options, not expand your possibilities. But here's what they never told you. You can write your own part. You can choose your character. You can decide which role serves your purpose and which roles deserve to be discarded. The weak person believes they must be authentic in every moment, revealing every thought, sharing every feeling, exposing every vulnerability. This is not authenticity. This is stupidity. This is not honesty. This is strategic suicide. Your true self is not a fixed entity that must be displayed for public consumption. Your true self is the director behind all your performances, choosing which role to play in each scene for maximum effect. When you walk into a job interview, you don't present the same character you present when comforting a friend. When you negotiate a deal, you don't play the same role you play when teaching a child. When you face a threat, you don't perform the same part you perform when celebrating a victory. This is not deception. This is intelligence. This is not being fake. This is being strategic. This is not lying about who you are. This is choosing which aspect of who you are serves the current situation. The amateur actor tries to be the same character in every scene. The professional actor adapts their performance to the requirements of each moment. The amateur believes one role fits all situations. The professional understands that different situations require different versions of themselves. But let me ask you this. What roles have you been unconsciously playing that no longer serve you? What characters have you accepted that limit your power? What performances have you been giving that diminish your possibilities? The victim role gets sympathy but never respect. The pleaser role gets temporary approval but never authentic relationships. The perfectionist role gets admiration but never peace. The rebel role gets attention but never influence. Study the roles you've been playing. Examine the characters you've been portraying. Analyze the performances you've been giving. Ask yourself, do these serve your highest purpose or someone else's agenda? Now choose new roles, design new characters, write new performances, not based on what others expect, but on what you require, not based on who they think you should be, but on who you choose to become. In business, you might play the strategic thinker, analytical, decisive, focused on results. In relationships, you might play the supportive partner, present, caring, emotionally available. In crisis, you might play the calm leader, unshaken, confident, solution-oriented. These are not different people. These are different facets of the same person revealed strategically for maximum impact. The powerful person understands that every interaction is a performance. Every conversation is a scene. Every encounter is an opportunity to choose which version of themselves will best serve their objectives. This does not make you manipulative. This makes you intentional. This does not make you dishonest. This makes you strategic. This does not make you fake. This makes you effective. Your enemies wear masks too, but they wear them unconsciously. They play roles without knowing they're acting. They perform parts without understanding the script. This makes them predictable. This makes them vulnerable. This makes them defeatable. But you will be different. You will be conscious of your performance. You will be intentional about your character. You will be strategic about your role. This awareness becomes your advantage. The person who plays only one role is easily categorized, easily predicted, easily controlled. But the person who can consciously shift between roles as the situation requires becomes impossible to pin down, impossible to predict, impossible to control. Master the art of conscious performance. Study which roles serve your purpose. Practice shifting between characters as situations change. Perfect the ability to choose your mask rather than accepting the one others try to assign. Remember, the role is not the person. The mask is not the face. The performance is not the performer. You are the director, the actor, and the audience all at once. You choose the script, play the part, and judge the performance. In a world where everyone is unconsciously performing roles assigned by others, the person who consciously chooses their own roles holds all the power. In a theater where most actors don't know they're acting, the person who masters the art of intentional performance becomes the star of their own show. Don't play their games by their rules. Write your own roles by your own standards. Don't accept their assigned characters. Create your own compelling performances. The stage is yours. The spotlight is waiting. The script is in your hands. The only question is, which role will you choose to play, and how powerfully will you perform it? Life rewards the best performances, not the most honest confessions. Success belongs to the most strategic actors, not the most transparent personalities. Power flows to those who master the art of conscious character, not those who reveal every unconscious impulse. You are allowed to feel, but you are not allowed to let feelings drive the vehicle of your life. You are permitted to experience emotion, but you are not permitted to let emotion make your decisions. You are entitled to have reactions. But you are not entitled to let reactions control your actions. The weak person believes emotions are commands that must be obeyed. They feel angry, so they must attack. They feel sad, so they must withdraw. They feel afraid, so they must retreat. They have made themselves slaves to every chemical reaction in their brain, but you understand what they do not. Emotions are information, not instructions. They are data, not directives. They are signals, not commands. They tell you what is happening inside you, but they do not get to decide what happens next. Watch how easily others are controlled through their emotions. One insult destroys their confidence. One criticism ruins their day. One setback devastates their motivation. One rejection derails their dreams. They have handed the remote control of their life to anyone who can trigger their feelings. This is not strength. This is surrender. This is not being human. This is being helpless. This is not emotional intelligence. This is emotional slavery. The powerful person feels everything, but is controlled by nothing. They experience the full range of human emotion, but refuse to let any emotion experience control over them. They acknowledge their feelings without becoming servants to their feelings. When you feel anger, you don't ignore it. You examine it. What triggered this response? What is this emotion trying to tell you? This is not about becoming cold. This is about becoming controlled. This is not about suppressing feelings. This is about directing them. This is not about denial. This is about dominion. The strongest steel is forged in the hottest fires, but does not melt in them. The most powerful leaders face the greatest pressures, but do not break under them. The most successful people experience intense emotions, but do not become enslaved by them. Your emotional state is a kingdom you rule, not a storm that rules you. Your feelings are citizens you govern, not dictators you serve. Your reactions are choices you make, not reflexes that make you. When someone insults you, you choose whether to be offended. When someone rejects you, you choose whether to be devastated. When someone challenges you, you choose whether to be threatened. The initial feeling may be automatic, but your response to that feeling is always your choice. This is the difference between the reactive person and the responsive person. The reactive person lets emotion choose their action. The responsive person lets wisdom choose their action while acknowledging their emotion. Master your emotional responses and you master your destiny. Control your feelings and you control your future. Command your reactions and you command respect from others. Because here's the truth that changes everything. People respect those who cannot be emotionally manipulated more than those who cannot be physically defeated. They trust those who remain stable under pressure more than those who remain strong under attack. Your emotional mastery is not just personal power, it's social influence, it's professional advantage, it's strategic superiority. Feel everything. Surrender to nothing, experience fully, react strategically. This is the way of the emotionally sovereign, and sovereignty is your birthright. Your attention is your kingdom. Your focus is your crown. Your mental energy is your treasure. And right now, thieves are robbing you blind while you hand them the keys to your castle. Every notification is an invasion. Every interruption is an attack. Every distraction is a theft. Your enemies don't need weapons to defeat you. They just need to scatter your focus until you forget what you were fighting for. Look around you. Watch how people live. Their phones buzz, and they immediately respond like trained animals. Their computers ding, and they instantly check like obedient servants. Their minds jump from task to task, like pinballs in a machine designed to keep them bouncing forever. These people believe they are busy. They think they are productive. They feel important because they are constantly reacting to demands on their attention. But they are not working, they are being worked. They are not thinking, they are being thought for. They are not choosing, they are being chosen for. This is not productivity. This is slavery with Wi-Fi. This is not engagement. This is enslavement with entertainment. This is not connection. This is captivity with convenience. Your focus is finite. Your attention is limited. Your mental energy is precious. Every moment you spend on someone else's priority is a moment stolen from your own. Purpose. Every interruption you allow is an investment in someone else's success at the expense of your own. But here's what they don't want you to know. Your ability to focus is your competitive advantage. In a world where everyone is distracted, the person who can concentrate becomes unstoppable. In an environment where everyone's attention is scattered, the person who can direct their mental energy becomes invaluable. The person who can focus for 4 hours accomplishes more than the person who works 12 hours while distracted. The person who can think deeply for 1 hour generates more value than the person who thinks shallowly all day. The person who can concentrate completely for 30 minutes solves problems that others struggle with for weeks. This is why they want to distract you. This is why they designed systems to interrupt you. This is why they create platforms to fragment your attention. Your focus threatens their control. Your concentration exposes their chaos. Your mental discipline reveals their mental weakness. Protect your focus like you would protect your life, because your focus is your life. Guard your attention like you would guard your money, because your attention is worth more than money. Defend your concentration like you would defend your family, because your concentration creates your future. But let me ask you this. What has permission to interrupt your most important work? What gets to break your deepest concentration? What is allowed to steal your most valuable mental energy? Social media that profits from your distraction? News that benefits from your anxiety? Entertainment that thrives on your procrastination? Other people's emergencies that are never as urgent as they pretend to be? You have been conditioned to believe that availability equals importance, that responsiveness equals responsibility, that constant connection equals productivity. These are lies designed to make you weak. The most successful people in any field are notoriously difficult to reach. They don't respond to every message immediately. They don't check their phones constantly. They don't attend every meeting they're invited to. They understand that their focus is their fortune, and they protect their fortune from thieves. Create sacred spaces where your focus cannot be violated. Establish protected times when your attention cannot be purchased. Design mental environments where your concentration cannot be compromised. Turn off the notifications. Close the unnecessary applications. Remove the tempting distractions. Create physical and digital environments that support deep work rather than shallow reactions. Your phone should not control when you pay attention to it. Your computer should not decide when you check your messages. Your environment should not determine when you break your concentration. You are the king of your attention kingdom. Start acting like it. When you work, work completely. When you focus, focus entirely. When you concentrate, concentrate fully. Half attention produces half results. Scattered focus creates scattered outcomes. Divided attention generates divided success. The quality of your attention determines the quality of your results. The depth of your focus determines the value of your output. The consistency of your concentration determines the magnitude of your achievement. But this requires sacrifice. You must sacrifice the illusion of being constantly connected. You must sacrifice the addiction to immediate response. You must sacrifice the comfort of constant stimulation. You must sacrifice the ego boost of being perpetually needed. These sacrifices are not losses. They are investments. They are not deprivations. They are disciplines. They are not punishments. They are preparations for the success that focus creates and distraction destroys. The distracted person lives in reaction mode. They respond to whatever demands their attention most loudly. They work on whatever seems most urgent rather than what is most important. They achieve motion without direction, activity without accomplishment, busyness without business success. But the focused person lives in creation mode. They direct their attention toward their chosen objectives. They work on what matters most, not what screams loudest. They achieve progress toward their purpose, not just movement toward exhaustion. Your enemies would rather you be distracted than defeated because distraction is defeat, without you realizing you've lost. They would rather scatter your focus than challenge your skills because scattered focus makes skills irrelevant, but you will be different. You will treat your attention like the precious resource it is. You will guard your focus like the treasure it represents. You will protect your concentration like the weapon it becomes when properly wielded. In a world full of people who cannot focus for 5 minutes, the person who can focus for 5 hours becomes a force of nature. In an environment where everyone's attention is for sale, the person who keeps their attention becomes priceless. Your focus is your throne. Protect it. Your attention is your crown. Guard it. Your concentration is your kingdom. Rule it, because the person who controls their focus controls their destiny. The person who masters their attention masters their future. The person who commands their concentration commands their life. The weak explain, the strong execute. The powerless defend their intentions. The powerful demonstrate their capabilities. The uncertain justify their decisions. The confident let their results argue their case. You have been trained to explain yourself, to justify your choices, to defend your decisions, to seek approval for your actions. This training has made you weak. This conditioning has stolen your power. This habit has turned you into a lawyer arguing cases instead of a leader creating results. Stop explaining. Start executing. Every moment you spend explaining why you're going to do something is a moment you're not spending actually doing it. Every word you use to justify your plan is energy that could be invested in implementing your plan. Every argument you make for your vision is effort that could be directed toward manifesting your vision. But here's what most people don't understand. Explanation is often procrastination in disguise. It feels productive because you're talking about important things. It seems valuable because you're engaging with others about your goals. It appears purposeful because you're using your time on work-related activities. But explanation without execution is just sophisticated stalling. It's elaborate avoidance. It's intelligent inaction. The person who must convince others of their plan doesn't believe in their plan. The person who must explain their vision doesn't see their vision clearly. The person who must defend their strategy doesn't trust their strategy completely. But the person who executes without explanation demonstrates confidence that words cannot convey. The person who acts without justification shows certainty that arguments cannot establish. The person who delivers without defending proves competence that explanations cannot create. Watch how the powerful move through the world. They don't announce their intentions. They reveal them through action. They don't describe their capabilities. They display them through results. They don't promise what they will do. They show what they have done. When questioned about their plans, they say, "You'll see." When asked to explain their methods, they say, "Watch." When pressed to justify their decisions, they say, "The results will speak." This is not arrogance. This is efficiency. This is not rudeness. This is respect for action over words. This is not secrecy. This is understanding that execution argues more persuasively than explanation ever could. Your critics don't need your explanations. Your supporters don't require your justifications. Your enemies won't be convinced by your arguments. Your allies already believe in your capabilities. The only thing that matters to any of them is what you actually accomplish. But let me ask you this. How much time do you spend explaining what you're going to do versus actually doing it? How much energy do you invest in justifying your plans versus implementing your plans? How much effort do you dedicate to defending your decisions versus demonstrating their wisdom through results? If you're honest, you'll admit that you spend more time talking about your goals than working toward them, more time explaining your vision than executing your vision, more time defending your choices than proving their value through outcomes. This ends now. From this moment forward, you will lie. Let your actions be your arguments. Your results will be your rhetoric. Your achievements will be your advocacy. Your accomplishments will be your answers to every question about your competence. When people ask what you're working on, show them what you've completed. When they question your approach, demonstrate your progress. When they doubt your abilities, display your achievements. When they challenge your methods, reveal your results. The person who over-explains appears uncertain. The person who over-justifies seems insecure. The person who over-defends looks desperate. But the person who simply executes and delivers appears unstoppable. This doesn't mean you never communicate about your work. This means you communicate through your work. This doesn't mean you never share your plans. This means you share your plans through your progress. This doesn't mean you never explain your thinking. This means you explain your thinking through your outcomes. The market doesn't care about your business plan. It cares about your product. Your audience doesn't care about your creative process. It cares about your creation. Your clients don't care about your methodology. They care about your results. Stop trying to convince people with words. Start convincing them with works. Stop attempting to impress them with your plans. Start impressing them with your performance. Stop hoping to influence them with your explanations. Start influencing them with your execution. The person who talks about writing a book remains a person with an idea. The person who writes a book becomes an author. The person who explains their business concept stays a dreamer. The person who builds their business becomes an entrepreneur. The person who describes their vision remains a theorist. The person who creates their vision becomes a leader. Your reputation is not built on what you say you will do. Your reputation is built on what you actually do. Your credibility is not established through promises. Your credibility is established through performance. Your authority is not granted through explanations. Your authority is earned through executions. But this requires courage. The courage to act without consensus. The courage to move without permission. The courage to execute without explanation. The courage to let your results speak when others demand your words. Most people explain because they're afraid to execute. They justify because they're terrified to be judged on results alone. They defend because they're scared to let their actions argue their case. They argue because they're frightened to let their achievements be their advocacy. But you will be different. You will have the confidence to act and the patience to let your actions prove their worth. You will have the certainty to execute and the discipline to let your execution demonstrate your competence. In a world full of people explaining what they're going to do, the person who simply does becomes magnetic. In an environment where everyone justifies their inaction, the person who acts without justification becomes powerful. In a culture where explanation is expected, execution becomes exceptional. Don't explain your greatness. Execute it. Don't describe your power. Demonstrate it. Don't argue your worth. Prove it, because the strongest argument is not the one made with words. The strongest argument is the one made with results. And results require execution, not explanation. Anyone who can provoke you controls you. Anyone who can trigger your reaction owns your response. Anyone who can manipulate your emotions holds the remote control to your behavior. This is the most dangerous form of slavery because you don't even realize you're enslaved. Your enemies don't need physical chains to imprison you. They don't need weapons to defeat you. They don't need force to control you. All they need is the ability to push your buttons, and you become their puppet, dancing to their music. Watch how easily people are controlled through their triggers. One insult destroys their composure. One criticism ruins their confidence. One challenge provokes their anger. One disagreement creates their chaos. They have handed over the keys to their emotional kingdom to anyone clever enough to know which buttons to push. But you will be different. You will starve their control by refusing to feed their manipulation. You will break their power by refusing to react to their provocations. You will defeat their strategy by refusing to play their games. The person who can remain unmoved by insults cannot be defeated by words. The person who stays calm under attack cannot be conquered by criticism. The person who maintains their peace during chaos cannot be controlled by confusion. This is not about becoming emotionless. This is about becoming strategically unresponsive to manipulation. This is not about suppressing your feelings. This is about choosing which feelings deserve your energy and which deserve your indifference. When someone insults you, they are offering you a choice. You can accept their gift of anger and become enslaved to their provocation, or you can decline their offering and remain free. Most people automatically accept every emotional gift offered to them, but you will learn to be selective about which presents you unwrap. Their insults only have power if you empower them. Their criticism only hurts if you let it hurt. Their provocations only work if you let them work. Their attempts to control you only succeed if you participate in your own manipulation. But here's what most people don't understand. The person trying to provoke you needs your reaction more than you need to give it. They are seeking validation of their ability to affect you. They are hunting for proof of their power over you. They are fishing for evidence that they matter enough to disturb your peace. Don't give them what they're seeking. Don't provide the validation they're hunting for. Don't offer the proof they're fishing for. Your indifference is their defeat. Your calm is their failure. Your peace is their powerlessness made visible. When you refuse to react, you strip them of their weapon. When you choose not to respond, you reveal their impotence. When you remain unmoved, you demonstrate their irrelevance. This requires practice. You have been conditioned to react automatically to certain triggers. You have been programmed to respond immediately to specific provocations. You have been trained to give away your power to anyone who knows how to ask for it in the right way. But you can retrain yourself. You can reprogram your responses. You can rebuild your reactions. When someone tries to provoke you, pause in that. Pause, ask yourself, does this person deserve the power to control my emotional state? Does this situation merit the energy I'm about to invest in it? Does this provocation serve my purpose, or does it serve theirs? Most of the time, you'll realize that your reaction serves their agenda, not yours. Your anger benefits their strategy, not your success. Your emotional response feeds their power, not your purpose. So choose differently. Choose calm over chaos. Choose peace over provocation. Choose power over reactivity. But let me ask you this. Who currently has the ability to disturb your peace? What words can reliably trigger your anger? Which situations consistently steal your calm? What people can predictably provoke your reactions? These are not random occurrences. These are your weaknesses being exploited. These are the areas where you have given others control over your internal state. These are the buttons that others have learned to push to get the responses they want from you. Identify them, study them, then systematically remove their power over you. When your peace can be disturbed by criticism, you are controllable through criticism. When your confidence can be shaken by doubt, you are manipulable through doubt. When your calm can be broken by chaos, you are defeatable through chaos. But when your peace cannot be disturbed, you become undisturbable. When your confidence cannot be shaken, you become unshakable. When your calm cannot be broken, you become unbreakable. This is not about becoming insensitive. This is about becoming selective about what you allow to affect you. This is not about caring less. This is about caring strategically. This is not about becoming hard. This is about becoming wise about where you invest your emotional energy. The person who reacts to every provocation is exhausted by the end of the day. The person who responds to every trigger is drained by everyone who pulls those triggers. The person who accepts every emotional offering is overwhelmed by other people's emotional baggage, but the person who chooses their battles carefully has energy for the wars that matter. The person who responds selectively has power for the situations that count. The person who refuses manipulative offerings has space for meaningful connections. Your emotional energy is precious. Your peace is valuable. Your calm is powerful. Don't waste these resources on people who don't deserve them. Don't invest these assets in situations that don't merit them. Don't spend this currency on provocations that don't serve your purpose. starve their control by refusing to feed it with your reactions. Break their power by denying them the responses they seek. Defeat their manipulation by becoming unmanipulable. In a world where everyone can be triggered, the person who cannot be provoked holds all the power. In an environment where everyone reacts predictably, the person who responds strategically becomes unpredictable. In a culture where everyone's buttons can be pushed, the person who removes their buttons becomes untouchable. Your enemies will try harder to provoke you when their usual methods stop working. They will escalate their efforts when their standard mode triggers lose their effect. They will increase their attempts when their normal provocations fail to produce results. This is when you know you're winning. This is when you can see their desperation. This is when their powerlessness becomes obvious. Stay strong. Remain calm. Keep your peace. Because the person who cannot be controlled through provocation cannot be controlled at all. Perception is reality in the theater of power. What others believe about your strength matters more than your actual strength. What they think about your capabilities influences your opportunities more than your real capabilities. What they assume about your position shapes your position more than your actual circumstances. The weak person reveals their weakness hoping for sympathy. They broadcast their struggles seeking support. They advertise their limitations expecting understanding. This is strategic suicide. This is public self-destruction. This is voluntary surrender disguised as honesty, but you understand what they do not. Appearing powerless attracts predators. Seeming vulnerable invites attack. Looking weak encourages exploitation. The moment others perceive you as defenseless, you become a target for every person seeking an easy victory. Never let them see you bleed. Never let them hear you beg. Never let them witness you break. Even when you are bleeding, begging, and breaking, your external appearance must project strength, composure, and control. This is not deception. This is survival. This is not dishonesty. This is strategy. This is not pretense. This is protection. The appearance of power creates real power. When others believe you are strong, they treat you as strong. When they assume you are capable, they offer you opportunities that require capability. When they perceive you as formidable, they approach you with respect instead of contempt. But here's what most people don't understand. You don't need actual power to project the appearance of power. You don't need real strength to demonstrate perceived strength. You don't need genuine authority to command respect through presence. Your posture speaks before your position does. Your confidence argues before your credentials do. Your energy communicates before your experience does. Master these, and you can appear powerful, even while building the power that will make the appearance unnecessary. When you walk into a room where you know no one, you can still walk like you belong there. When you enter a situation where you have no authority, you can still carry yourself with dignity. When you face circumstances beyond your control, you can still project the calm of someone who expects to prevail. This is not about faking confidence. This is about refusing to advertise insecurity. This is not about pretending to be someone you're not. This is about becoming who you're meant to be by acting like that person until the acting becomes authentic. The person who appears confident will be treated as if they are confident. The person who projects competence will be offered opportunities to prove their competence. The person who demonstrates leadership will be followed as if they are qualified to lead. But let me ask you, in what situations do you currently reveal your powerlessness? When do you advertise your weakness? Where do you broadcast your limitations? How often do you apologize for not being ready instead of acting as if you're prepared to become ready? Your uncertainty should never be public information. Your fears should never be advertised. Your limitations should never be announced. Keep these things private while you work to transform them. Share your struggles only with people who can help you overcome them, not with people who will use them against you. When you don't know something, don't announce your ignorance. Say, "Let me look into that and get back to you." When you can't do something, Don't broadcast your incapability. Say, I'll need to explore the best approach for this. When you're not ready for something, don't advertise your unreadiness. Say, I'll make sure I'm properly prepared. These responses buy you time to gain knowledge, develop capability, and create readiness, while maintaining the appearance of someone who takes responsibility seriously, rather than someone who accepts defeat easily. Your private reality can include doubt, fear, uncertainty, and weakness. These are human experiences that everyone encounters, but your public presentation should project confidence, courage, certainty, and strength. These are the qualities that attract opportunity and command respect. This doesn't make you dishonest. This makes you strategic. This doesn't make you fake. This makes you wise. This doesn't make you deceptive. This makes you effective. The person who constantly reveals their powerlessness trains others to see them as powerless. The person who consistently admits their weakness teaches others to treat them as weak. The person who regularly confesses their limitations programs others to limit their opportunities. But the person who maintains the appearance of strength, even while building actual strength, creates space for growth. The person who projects capability, even while developing capability, attracts chances to prove their potential. The person who demonstrates confidence, even while building competence, earns respect that opens doors. Your reputation is built on what people believe about you, not necessarily on what is true about you in every moment. Your opportunities are created by how others perceive your potential, not by your current limitations. Your future is shaped by the image you project today, not by the struggles you're experiencing privately. This is why the most successful people often seem to have been successful forever. They learned early to project the image of success while building the substance of success. They mastered the art of appearing ready for opportunities before they felt ready for them. You are building something. You are becoming someone. You are developing into the person you're meant to be. During this construction phase, don't let others see the scaffolding. Don't advertise the work in progress. Don't reveal the foundation being laid. Show them the vision of what you're building, not the current state of the construction site. Let them see the destination you're heading toward, not the distance you still need to travel. Present the person you're becoming, not the person you used to be. Your weakness is temporary. Your strength is eternal. Your current limitations are circumstances. Your future capabilities are your destiny. But while you're transforming from one to the other, never let the world see you as anything less than powerful. Never let them perceive you as anything other than capable. Never let them believe you are anything but ready for whatever comes next. The appearance of power protects you while you build real power. The projection of strength shields you while you develop actual strength. The demonstration of readiness covers you while you prepare for what you're not yet ready to handle. In a world that preys on perceived weakness, your apparent strength becomes your armor. In an environment that exploits visible vulnerability, your projected invincibility becomes your shield. In a culture that attacks obvious powerlessness, your demonstrated power becomes your protection. Never appear powerless, even when you are, because the person who looks weak will be treated weak, and the person who is treated weak often becomes weak. But the person who appears strong will be treated strong, and the person who is treated strong inevitably becomes strong. Powerful people don't complain, they convert. They don't whine about their wounds, they weaponize them. They don't broadcast their pain, they transform it into purpose. They understand that every setback is raw material for a comeback, and every failure is fuel for future success. The weak person treats setbacks as endings. They see failure as proof of their inadequacy. They interpret rejection as confirmation of their unworthiness. They experience pain as evidence that life is unfair. They allow temporary defeats to become permanent identities. But you understand what they do not. Setbacks are not sentences. They are curriculum. Failures are not verdicts. They are education. Pain is not punishment. It is preparation. Every difficult experience is a university that teaches lessons you cannot learn anywhere else. Your enemies want you to break under pressure. They want your setbacks to become your breakdowns. They want your failures to destroy your confidence. They want your pain to paralyze your progress. They are counting on your defeats to defeat you permanently. Don't give them the satisfaction. Instead, use every setback as silent fuel for your engine of ambition. Convert every disappointment into determination. Transform every rejection into resolve. Process every failure into preparation for future victory. But here's what separates the powerful from the powerless. The powerful suffer in private and succeed in public. They process their pain away from public view. They digest their defeats in solitude. They metabolize their setbacks into strength without making it a performance for others to witness. The weak person makes their suffering a public event. They announce their struggles. They broadcast their pain. They advertise their setbacks. They turn their temporary defeats into permanent identities by making them the center of their story. But you will be different. You will suffer silently and succeed loudly. You will process your pain privately and present your power publicly. You will convert your setbacks into comebacks without making the conversion process a spectacle for others to observe. When life knocks you down, you don't stay down long enough for others to notice. When failure hits you hard, you don't let the impact become visible to your enemies. When rejection wounds you deeply, you don't let the wound become ammunition for those who wish you harm. You take the hit. You absorb the lesson. You extract the value. You apply the knowledge. You return stronger. And you never let them see the process that transformed their attack into your advantage. Every successful person has a graveyard of failures behind them. Every powerful leader has a collection of defeats in their past. Every influential individual has experienced rejection, disappointment, and pain. The difference is not in the absence of these experiences. It's in how they processed them. They used failure as feedback. They treated rejection as redirection. They converted disappointment into determination. They transformed pain into power. They processed setbacks into comebacks. They metabolized defeats into victories. But let me ask you this. How do you currently handle setbacks? Do you let them defeat you, or do you let them develop you? Do you use them to prove your limitations or to push past your limitations? Do you allow them to become your excuse, or do you convert them into your fuel? The person who complains about their setbacks remains stuck in their setbacks. The person who blames others for their failures remains trapped by their failures. The person who makes their pain public continues to live in their pain, but the person who silently processes their setbacks extracts maximum value from minimum visibility. The person who privately learns from their failures gains wisdom without giving enemies ammunition. The person who quietly converts their pain into power maintains dignity while building strength. This is not about suppressing your emotions. This is about strategically processing your experiences. This is not about pretending you don't feel pain. This is about choosing how you use that pain. This is not about avoiding failure. This is about maximizing the value you extract from inevitable failures. Your setbacks are not happening to you. They are happening for you. They are not designed to destroy you. They are designed to develop you. They are not meant to end your story. They are meant to edit your story into something more powerful. Every rejection is teaching you resilience. Every failure is building your character. Every setback is strengthening your determination. Every painful experience is preparing you for greater challenges and greater victories. But you must be willing to do the work of conversion. You must be committed to the process of transformation. You must be dedicated to extracting lessons from losses and wisdom from wounds. This work happens in private. This processing occurs in solitude. This conversion takes place away from public view. You don't announce it. You don't advertise it. You don't make it a performance. You simply do it. Then you emerge stronger. You return more capable. You reappear more powerful. And you let your increased strength speak for itself. You let your enhanced capability demonstrate your growth. You let your expanded power prove your progress. The powerful person's pain is private, but their progress is public. Their struggles are silent, but their success is obvious. Their setbacks are secret, but their comebacks are spectacular. Your enemies will keep attacking, hoping to break you. Your critics will keep criticizing, hoping to defeat you. Your challenges will keep coming, hoping to destroy you. They don't realize that every attack makes you stronger. Every criticism makes you better. Every challenge makes you more capable. Use their attacks as fuel for your advancement. Convert their criticism into motivation for your improvement. Transform their challenges into opportunities for your growth. They think they are defeating you. You know they are developing you. They believe they are destroying you. You understand they are strengthening you. They assume they are ending your story. You realize they are editing your story into something more powerful. Suffer silently. Learn privately. Grow quietly. Then emerge publicly as someone who cannot be broken because you have learned to convert every attempt to break you into material that makes you stronger. Your setbacks are not your story. Your comebacks are your story. Your failures are not your identity. Your recoveries are your identity. Your pain is not your permanent condition. Your power built from that pain is your permanent transformation. Use setbacks as silent fuel. Convert pain into private power. Transform defeats into quiet determination. Then, let your next level of success do all the talking that your suffering never did. Liking is weakness. Respect is power. The person who needs to be liked can be controlled through approval. The person who commands respect controls their own destiny. The person who chases affection becomes a slave to other people's opinions. The person who earns reverence becomes master of their own fate. You have been conditioned to seek approval, trained to avoid disapproval, programmed to make others comfortable, even at the expense of your own comfort. This conditioning has turned you into a performer dancing for applause instead of a leader commanding respect. The approval-seeking person says yes when they mean no. They smile when they want to frown. They agree when they want to argue. They accommodate when they should. Assert. They have traded their authenticity for acceptance, their integrity for inclusion, their power for popularity. But here's what they never told you. The more you try to be liked, the less you are respected. The more you seek approval, the less you receive authority. The more you chase acceptance, the less you command influence. People respect what they cannot control. They admire what they cannot manipulate. They follow what they cannot break. When you make yourself controllable through your need for approval, you become unworthy of the respect you crave. The person who will do anything to be liked will eventually be liked by no one, because people instinctively distrust those who have no backbone. The person who changes their positions to match popular opinion will be seen as having no real positions at all. The person who agrees with everyone will be trusted by no one, but the person who stands firm in their convictions earns respect even from those who disagree. The person who maintains their standards regardless of social pressure commands admiration, even from critics. The person who chooses integrity over popularity gains influence that popularity alone could never provide. Stop trying to be liked. Start demanding to be respected. This doesn't mean you become cruel or unnecessarily harsh. This means you become authentic and uncompromisingly honest. This doesn't mean you ignore others' feelings. This means you honor your own feelings equally. This doesn't mean you stop caring about people. This means you stop sacrificing yourself for their temporary comfort. When you speak, speak your truth, not the truth others want to hear. When you act, act according to your values, not according to their expectations. When you choose, choose what serves your purpose, not what serves their approval. But let me ask you this. In how many areas of your life are you currently performing for approval? Where are you saying yes when you mean no? When are you agreeing? When you want to argue? How often are you compromising your values to avoid disappointing others? Every time you betray yourself for someone else's comfort, You teach them that your authenticity is negotiable. Every time you sacrifice your truth for their approval, you train them to expect your dishonesty. Every time you choose their temporary satisfaction over your permanent integrity, you demonstrate that you can be bought with social currency. This is why approval seekers are never truly respected. People sense the performance. They detect the inauthenticity. They recognize the manipulation disguised as agreeableness. They may like the pleasant facade, but they don't respect the person hiding behind it. Respect requires boundaries. Admiration demands standards. Influence needs integrity. These things cannot coexist with the desperate need to be liked by everyone. The powerful person is willing to be disliked for their principles. They choose respect over affection. They select admiration over approval. They prefer influence over inclusion. They understand that trying to please everyone guarantees pleasing no one, especially yourself. When you stop performing for approval, you start living for respect. When you stop seeking to be liked, you start commanding to be valued. When you stop chasing acceptance, you start earning authority. This transformation is not easy. You have been conditioned to equate being disliked with being wrong. You have been trained to interpret disapproval as failure. You have been programmed to see rejection as evidence of your inadequacy. But these are lies designed to keep you weak. Being disliked often means you're doing something important. Facing disapproval frequently indicates you're challenging the status quo. Experiencing rejection regularly suggests you're not settling for whatever they're willing to give you. Every leader in history was disliked by someone. Every innovator faced disapproval from the establishment. Every revolutionary was rejected by those who profited from the old system. Every person who changed the world was criticized by those who preferred the world unchanged. Your worth is not determined by how many people like you. Your value is not measured by how much approval you receive. Your success is not calculated by how well you fit into other people's expectations. Your worth is determined by how authentically you live. Your value is measured by how consistently you honor your principles. Your success is calculated by how effectively you achieve your purposes, not by how agreeably you pursue them. The likable person is forgotten when the conversation ends. The respectable person is remembered when the relationship ends. The likable person influences nothing. The respectable person influences everything they touch. Choose respect over popularity. Select admiration over approval. Prefer influence over inclusion. Demand reverence over acceptance. This means you will be misunderstood by some. You will be criticized by others. You will be rejected by those who cannot handle your authenticity. You will be disliked by people who need you to be smaller so they can feel bigger. Let them misunderstand you. Let them criticize you. Let them reject you. Let them dislike you. Their approval was never the price of your power. Their acceptance was never the cost of your success. Their comfort was never your responsibility. Your responsibility is to be true to yourself, to honor your values, to maintain your standards, to pursue your purpose, to command respect through integrity rather than chase approval through accommodation. In a world full of people performing for approval, authenticity becomes magnetic. In an environment where everyone seeks to be liked, respect becomes rare and therefore valuable. In a culture of approval seekers, the person who doesn't need approval becomes the person everyone wants to follow. Stop trying to be liked. Start being respected. Stop seeking approval. Start commanding authority. Stop chasing acceptance. Start earning admiration, because the person who needs to be liked will never be truly powerful, but the person who deserves to be respected will never be truly powerless. Your power lies not in how many people like you, but in how impossible you are to ignore when you're being authentically yourself. You don't wait to feel powerful. You choose to be powerful. You don't hope for strength to arrive. You decide to become strong. You don't wish for confidence to appear. You select confidence as your default state. Power is not an emotion that visits you. Power is a decision you make. The weak person waits to feel ready before they act. They postpone action until they feel confident. They delay decisions until they feel certain. They remain paralyzed until they feel powerful. This is why they remain weak. This is why they stay powerless. This is why they never feel ready, confident, certain, or strong. But you understand what they do not. Feelings follow actions, not the other way around. You become confident by acting confidently. You develop strength by choosing strong actions. You gain power by making powerful decisions. You feel ready by acting as if you're ready until readiness becomes your reality. The person who waits to feel powerful never feels powerful because power is not generated by waiting. Power is generated by choosing. It's not created by hoping. It's created by deciding. It's not built through wishing. It's built through willing. Every moment you spend waiting to feel different is a moment you could be choosing to act differently. Every second you waste hoping for transformation is a second you could be deciding to transform. Every minute you lose wishing for power is a minute you could be choosing power. Stop waiting for permission from your feelings. Start giving yourself authority through your choices. Stop seeking validation from your emotions. Start granting yourself power through your decisions. Stop hoping for confidence to arrive. Start choosing confidence as your operating system. This is the final truth that separates the powerful from the powerless. The powerful act first and feel later. They choose their state rather than wait for their state to choose them. They decide who they will be rather than hope to become who they might be. When they don't feel confident, they choose confident actions until confidence becomes their natural state. When they don't feel strong, they make strong decisions until strength becomes their default mode. When they don't feel powerful, they exercise power until power becomes their permanent possession. But here's what most people never realize. You already have everything you need to be powerful. You have the ability to choose your thoughts. You have the capacity to direct your actions. You have the authority to make your decisions. These abilities are power. These capacities are strength. This authority is confidence. You don't need more education to be powerful. You need to choose power. You don't need more experience to be confident. You need to choose confidence. You don't need more resources to be strong. You need to choose strength. The choice is always available, in every moment, in every situation. In every circumstance, you can choose to be the victim or the victor. You can choose to be reactive or responsive. You can choose to be powerless or powerful. But let me ask you this final question. What have you been waiting to feel before you start living powerfully? What emotion have you been expecting before you begin acting confidently? What internal state have you been demanding before you start choosing strength? Whatever it is, stop waiting for it. Start choosing it. Stop hoping to feel it. Start deciding to be it. Stop wishing it would arrive. Start willing it into existence through your choices. The powerful person wakes up and chooses power before they feel powerful. They act with confidence before they feel confident. They demonstrate strength before they feel strong. They exercise authority before they feel authoritative. And through these choices, through these actions, through these demonstrations, they become what they chose to be. They feel what they decided to experience. They embody what they willed into existence. This is how transformation actually works. Not through hoping and waiting, but through choosing and acting. Not through feeling and then being, but through being and then feeling. Not through emotion leading to action, but through action leading to emotion. You have spent too much time waiting for the right feeling to motivate the right action. From this moment forward, you will choose the right action to create the right feeling. You will stop letting your emotions drive your behavior. You will start letting your behavior drive your emotions. When you choose powerful actions consistently, you become a powerful person permanently. When you select confident behaviors repeatedly, you develop confident character automatically. When you decide on strong responses continually, you build strong identity inevitably. Your power was never missing. It was never taken from you. It was never absent. It was always present, waiting for your decision to access it. It was always available, waiting for your choice to activate it. It was always yours, waiting for your will to claim it. The crown was never lost, you simply forgot you were wearing it. The throne was never vacant, you simply forgot you were sitting on it. The kingdom was never conquered, you simply forgot you were ruling it. Remember who you are. Remember what you possess. Remember the power that has always been yours. You are not powerless, you never were. You were simply never taught how to access the power that was always within you. You were simply never shown how to choose the strength that was always available to you. You were simply never trained to claim the authority that was always rightfully yours. But now you know. Now you understand. Now you remember. Power is a choice. Strength is a decision. Confidence is a selection. Authority is a determination. Greatness is a choice you make every moment of every day. Stop waiting to feel ready. Choose to be ready. Stop hoping to feel powerful. Decide to be powerful. Stop wishing to feel confident. Select confidence as your way of being. The world is waiting for you to claim your power. Your destiny is waiting for you to choose your strength. Your future is waiting for you to decide your greatness. You already have what it takes. Now go prove it. Not when you feel like it. Not when you're ready for it. Not when you think you deserve it. Right now. Today. This moment. Choose power. Decide strength. Select confidence. Claim authority. Because power is not a feeling you wait for. Power is a choice you make. And you were born to make that choice. If this message spoke to you, subscribe for more powerful mindset content that will transform how you think about yourself and your capabilities. Let us know in the comments what part hit you the hardest, what truth challenged you the most, what choice will you make differently starting today. You already have what it takes. Now, go prove it.